Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Monday, January the 18th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Trading with confidence with Walmal. Before we get going, let me just remind you these videos are for educational purposes only, and your results may differ from mine. I received a email, and the email reads in part, I have some doubts how to take reversal trade, otherwise how to trade breakout trades with confident signals because our stockbroker doesn't give any two signals. I have only tool horizontal lines. Please guide me how to take confident trades. Price will go upside or downside. Well, the thing about confidence is first you have to have the experience, and with experience, you either have success or failure. And as you build with your successes, that's what gets confidence. So it's kind of either an upward spiral or a downward spiral. I mean, if you have experience and you keep losing and losing and losing, then you're not going to have much confidence. So, what you have to do is have a plan in place, follow the plan, and if the plan's really any good, you're going to succeed. But you have to understand trading speculation. We can't really, we don't know what the future is going to bring. And so, of course, when you start out, you don't have any confidence at all. And then, if you have your fingers burnt, one, two, three times in a row, that destroys your confidence. But you just have to understand it's speculation. You have to look at the long term and realize that sometimes losing streaks are just part of trading. What do you say, Walmal?
Well, I think the first thing, I'm going to go and just define just that word confidence. And I just looked it up on my computer while you were speaking. And it says confidence is a state of being clear-headed, either that a hypothesis or a prediction is correct, or that a chosen course of action is the best or most effective. And I think that's incredibly important there because, you kind of said this already, but it really bears, restating maybe from a slightly different way. And that is, we have to, confidence is in your method or confidence in your trading. Well, there's an entire system. Sometimes we get wrapped up in a method, we get wrapped up in, all types of different things. And what happens is that what we have to do is put together an entire system. If you want to be profitable, you have to have an entire system in place. It's not just the method entry. It's not just the exit entry. It's not even, where I go and why I'm even taking a trade. It's all of those things. You have to have all those different things. And then where does confidence come into play? You go and you do it, and you do it, and you do it. And what you do is, you take it from the level of it being a hypothesis to something that's actually what we'd call in science, if you're a scientist, a law. In other words, what I mean by that is that it's something that you can trust, something that you know is true. It's the type of thing where, if you go and climb on top of a tower and you drop a ball, what do you know is going to happen? The ball is going to go and fall, and it's going to go from your hand all the way down to the ground. Now, the thing is, at some point in time, somebody was saying, I've got a hypothesis that if I drop a ball, it will go and drop and hit the ground. But until you go and prove it, time in and time out, it's nothing more than a theory as opposed to being something that's true. Now, the thing that makes trading, more difficult is that, the reality is I go and take a trade based on a method. This particular time, it may not work, okay, or it may work. And the thing is, you could have the best, method in the world, but you never guaranteed 100% that every single time that when you take the trade, it's going to go exactly in the direction that you intended it to go. Because if that existed, the markets wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be a need to have a market, because what is a market? It's the people going and trying to get the best price for whatever is being sold. I've told TRO this a number of times when I lived in Africa for a while. And when you went to go and buy vegetables, for example, you would go into the market, okay, and it's not like in the U.S. In the U.S., you go into a supermarket, if a tomato is $1, the tomato is $1. Period. End of conversation. You're done. But when you over in Africa where I was living, what happened was you went into the market and it was a true market. I'd go and ask the person after lots of conversation and say, how much do you want for your tomato? That was a very nice tomato, but how much do you want for it? And they may go and say it's $3 for that tomato. Obviously, it wouldn't be in dollars; it'd be in their currency. And I don't know about that. It's probably a lot less than that. Maybe I'll give you 50 cents for that. And then they'd come back and they'd say $2. And eventually we'd settle in on a price. Okay? Well, the idea of confidence is I go into that market, and when I went into that market, the idea was I was going to try to get the very best price I could. And in the long run, by doing that, I would go and, overall be in a situation where I'm doing better than if I had just gone to a different place or didn't go and make the trade at all. Because if I didn't make the trade at all, well, wouldn't have food to eat. Well, in trading, the thing is, what we're all doing is, where it's right now, if we look at the chart, we're seeing at a price, where the bid right now on my chart anyway is 78.3 or 1.3578.8. Okay? That's where it's sitting at right now. But there's people out there saying, nope, I'm not willing to go and sell it at that price. I want to go and sell it at, 135.82. And it's that process of going back and forth. My question is, or proposal is, well, how do you know? How do you know? Do I have enough confidence to go and say, I'm going to go and sell it even though at this price, even knowing that it's probably, it may not be the best price? Does my method allow me to do it? Or do I just suck it up and just say, you know what, I'm just not going to take that trade until it gets to the point where I agree that it should be?
And we're right at the 80 line. And we just crossed the 80 line. So I guess people want to pay more or sell tomatoes higher. So I guess the bottom line is that, to that trader and to all traders, I can't give you confidence. That's something that you will only get through your experience and your successes. What I can, I can show you what I do and some of the different methods, and usually the underlying statistics that one made me adapt to that method.
Right, and the thing is, like with me, just about all the methods that I use to get into a trade or not get into a trade is based on statistics. My schooling is that I went to school to become an engineer, so I have great faith in statistics, because if you didn't have statistics, you couldn't do engineering. It's just that simple. You just couldn't do it. So for that reason, I go and rely upon statistics. And if I see something that's working for me 70% of the time or 80% of the time, whatever it may be, I can go and say, you know what, if I go and manage my risk and play that game, well, I know that 70% of the time I should be on the top side. And if I'm able to go and manage the risk and manage the profit, I'll be good to go. So where's my confidence come from? My confidence comes from the statistics. That's my basis of it. The second thing is by going and actually doing it. And that's very important. Go out and sit down and actually, run my statistics by going and actually taking the trades and seeing if it actually works out on, not just on paper, but also in the real market, because there may be something in the statistics that we didn't account for, and that could go and knock you out. There have been times when I've looked at statistics and said, okay, I should be able to do this, and because of that, I should be able to go and win this many times, and therefore go and make X number of pips or whatever, and then it doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? Because there was a piece of it that I was missing. And I think, TRO, you can go and talk to that as well, this whole idea that may be a piece missing. So what do? You keep on, you keep on your journey to go and try to go and knock those little missing pieces out so that you're able to go and better fine-tune your statistics, and then you have total confidence in your system. I don't have total confidence I'm going to win the trade. I mean, I took a trade just a little bit ago, and I went into the trade. If you would ask me what my confidence was to go win the trade, I said 50-50. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to win it or lose it. But why did I take it? Because based on what I've seen in the past, I usually do win that trade, and I happen to win that trade not by very much, but I got a few pips, into my bank account. And that's all that matters.
Yes, that is all that matters. And that's one of the things, if you look at him, especially, you look at this M1 chart, and, today's a holiday and prices just kind of, chopping back and forth. But the thing is, when you look at the H1 range, a couple hours ago, we had like 4 or 5 hours that had 20 pips or more per hour. You can see that here on the regular price action, the simple chart here. So there was money to be made, just once again, just trading the Walmal lines. There was a couple times you might have gotten your fingers burned, and there was a couple times where you made up for that and then some. But,
right, and that's all it comes down to.
Yeah, but
that,
starting out this hour, I couldn't tell you if it's going to break the 80 or break the 90, but chances are it's going to break one of them, if not both.
Right, and that's it. You don't know. Anybody tells you, they can tell you the direction the market's going to go in with 100% certainty. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to tell you that they're a bold-faced liar, because anything could happen. And because of that, you can't know. Now, what I can say is that, based on statistics, that we have almost probably a 95% chance that, when this hour started out, it was going to go and break either the 80 or the 90. We had a really good chance that was going to happen. Why? Because we know that when you look at the statistics, it goes more than 10 pips. Something, when we went back and looked at it about a year or so ago, it broke it by 10 or more pips, like 99% of the time. When you were trading during the London and New York session, it just broke it like 99% of the time. So I consider that almost certainty at that point in time. Now, that doesn't mean that you're guaranteed that you're going to get 10 pips every hour. What that means is it's going to move 10 pips and cross one or both of those lines in an hour. So now what do? You have to go. Remember, in the very beginning of this video, I said you need to have a system. You need to put together a method, and you need to go and put together a system that takes advantage of that. And, here's the thing that's really important. Every one of us are different from each other. And so, we can all have the same method, but different systems. I trade a lot of the same, methods that TRO trades, but our systems are very, very different from each other. We and that's the thing that matters. And the reason why is he can have a trading system that's profitable, and I can have a different system that's profitable. And the reason why is a lot of times that trading system has to be based around our personality and what our strengths and weaknesses are. And as we go and take care of our strengths, then what we can do is we can go and build our confidence, because as we go and, harp in or hone in on our strengths, we'll have, a better record behind us. And that's the nice thing about it, is as you get better at this, you will go and just get better and better and better. But you need to be willing to go and do that and develop your skill level.
Yeah, and just so you know, fellow traders, we still have those two pairs, the Aussie franc and the New Zealand franc, that did not fill the gap. We actually broke out of the opening range for the month there when price came down to 35.20, let's call it. But as you can see, it's moved today 67 pips off of that low. We're still down under the yearly open, monthly open by 55 pips. Also, we broke out of the inside bar from 9 days ago, back at 35.53. And we only have two pairs over 100, one over 100 pips in range. Once again, it's a holiday, to be expected. On the buy zone, you see we still haven't hit the pivot, but we have crossed above the daily weekly open right now. And the rats, we are in the red rat zone that says the range is large enough. At 78 pips, we're getting close there. Once the pivot's at 1.36173, haven't hit that yet. So we have a missed pivot today, but you can see you have to go back to November of last year before we had a daily missed pivot, and the weekly pivot got taken out. So once again, you have to go back to last year for a missed pivot on the weekly. We're coming into the lower, actually we're in that lower wick zone, and we just popped out above the 83 level there. And that about wraps it up.